Going on, guys? And welcome back to the real world. NBA gambling scandal. Let's talk about the NBA gambling scandal. This shit crazy. These motherfuckers tied in with the mob and everything, man. So look, let's get into it. All right, so authorities say the mafia paid NBA head coach of the Portland Trail Blazers, Chauncey Phillips, and a former Cleveland Cavaliers player, Damian Jones, to lure unexpected victims to high-stake poker games in the Hamptons, Las Vegas, Miami, and Manhattan. All right? Where they would rig the games using an altered card shuffling machine, right? And an X-ray poker table. That's gangster. That could read cards that's facing down. So we all know your cards gonna be facing down when you playing poker, pity pat, tonk, or any one of these motherfucking games, right? Any card game, Uno, whatever, it's gonna be facing down. And we all know how like motherfucker be trying to peel and you be trying to look at their shit, you're looking at their cards. Imagine if it was an X-ray table. The table itself is X-ray. So that motherfucker telling them what you got in your hand. And you got hundreds of millions of dollars, hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars at stake, right? So that was the play. Which, hey man, look, get it how you live. You understand? But so that's the play, man. Chauncey Phillips, if we get into him a little bit, just a little history on this guy. He's 49 years old. He was a former NBA player, and now he's a current head coach. Well, he was, because after this, the NBA ain't gonna have nothing to do with him. The guy Damian Jones and Terry Rozier, I think that's how you pronounce his name, is over for him. Sponsorships, the employment there. No major company like that is gonna want to deal with you after you have these type of allegations, and they really real and they stick. Nobody gonna want to fuck with you like that. So it's pretty much over for their careers, right? But in 1997, along with another former player of his, Ron Mercer, they was accused of sexually assaulting a woman after leaving a comedy club. Although the medical examination revealed the injuries were consistent with the victim's testimony, meaning whatever she said they did to her, the medical examination that was conducted was conducive of what she said happened, what she said they did to her, right? No criminal charges were filed. So he settled that out of court. He paid the little chick off or whatever like that. That's just a little backstory on him. He ain't got too much on him, but that's something that could raise should have a light bulb over your head. It says a little bit about a person's character when they got that type of thing on them, right? But not saying he did that. I wasn't there. You never know what happened. But if he did, this might be the chickens coming home to roost. You understand? Because I don't agree with nobody taking advantage of no motherfucking woman. You understand? Or nobody for that matter, especially sexually. But anyway, and now we get here, in 2025, where they rigging poker games. Now, the first thing a lot of people gonna say is, man, how in the hell do NBA players, coaches get involved with the mob? And we talking about big time mafia guys, families, right? Well, what happens is a lot of these players, man, they gamble. It's just a part of their competitive spirits. You understand? A lot of these guys, man, they gamble, and that's just how they living. So they basically were being used as bait to lure these high stake poker players you know, into coming and playing. You understand? Like it's like somebody like Michael Jordan or somebody, right? Kobe or what's the guy? Stephen Curry. You know, if you know a person is more inclined to come to a poker game if they know they're gonna have that type of stars in the game. You understand? So they were using them to do that. And these guys, these players were getting paid good money to lure these guys into these games uh, without them knowing that the games were being rigged because they're going to trust somebody like that. You understand? Somebody that's on TV all the time and things like that. So I mean, it was a clean lit play they was they was running. And the mob been doing this type of thing for decades and decades, right? They've been into that illegal gaming with players, and players have been into it with the mob. You know, but yeah, man, this ain't looking good for Chauncey Phillips and his comrades, man. Uh, like I say, man, trouble is hard to get into, man. I mean, easy to get into, but it's hell to get out of. And I'm telling you, these guys, you know, they didn't really lay it up down and trick themselves out of good position. Because you gotta understand, Chauncey Phillips, he a head coach. That boy getting paid real money right now. A lot of guys that go into the NBA, after the NBA career, they wonder what they're gonna do next. For him to land a head coach job with the Portland Trailblazers, that's significant. So you're already getting paid. So he might have been wrapped up in some shit, with the mob. A lot of times when you get tied into these type of things, man, ain't no just getting out. Ain't no just saying, oh man, I'm done. So you might have been getting extorted. Who knows? But yeah, man, they was rigging these games, and what they do a lot of time, man, with the mob, they'll set up a real nice scenery for these guys. When they come there, they got the women, they got the booze, they got the drugs, it's just like in the movies. They make them real comfortable. And if they doing good business, right, then it's not going to be, they ain't going to be tricking these people. Because when you trick these players that's spending all this money with you, you making $30,000, $40,000, $60,000 a week off of these type of games, right? Because people not going to win more than they lose. You understand? But if they losing to an extent to where they never win, they not going to be coming back, even if they are addicted to this gambling thing, right? Well, these guys was rigging it to where they never win. They never win, bro. So they really was hustling backwards. You understand? And that's how probably all this then came to fruition where these guys, somebody that went told the feds and they looking at them, right? Because they got greedy with this situation. If they would have just played the game fair, had these guys come in, ever so often, play the game, drink, socialize, and go home, none of this would be happening, I promise you. You know what I'm saying? Because that's their vice. They like to gamble whether they losing or not. People that gamble, man, they gonna gamble. It don't matter what. They gonna gamble and they'll gamble everything they got. They'll gamble their last. They'll gamble their wedding ring. They'll gamble their house. They'll gamble their will that they leaving for their kids. Anything. Because they in love with that they got an adrenaline rush, for the what if I can win? I never understood it because I ain't never been that type of gambler, but I've known people to gamble like that. And it's very lucrative for somebody that can exploit that type of vice that a person has, and that's what these guys were doing, man. But it's sad for a person to come up and be a ball player like that, man, and end up, they probably gonna be facing a couple of years, man, to be honest with you, because they tied up into uh with the feds now with this situation, right? And it's still new, but I'm pretty sure some people gonna roll, some people gonna start telling on this and that, because these guys ain't really built like that to be dealing with all this, this publicity and all this time that they might be facing here. You see what I'm saying? But it's always a good thing, brother. Like, if you gonna do something illegal, I'm not condoning doing illegal things, but I'm just saying, if you're gonna do something illegal, it's a right way to do wrong. You understand? You still gotta have some kind of integrity, some kind of morals and principles about yourself when you're doing criminal activities. You understand? And if you making good money off of it, ain't no need in being greedy, because eventually that well gonna run dry, and you never know where you might end up needing to go to get some more water. You understand? You might not have nowhere to go. You know what I'm saying? Because you done burnt all your bridges. And but I stopped watching basketball a long time ago in the 90s, early 90s. So I'm not too savvy on who these guys are, but the name, the Chauncey Billups, that sounds familiar to me. And apparently he played for a long time, and then now he coaching. And this other guy, man, he still was playing for the league, but all that's over now. That's water under the bridge. He done. But life is about choices, man. And this just go to show you, no matter where you at in life, you can be a pro basketball player. Nobody's exempt to making the wrong choices. You see what I'm saying? But they got nobody to blame but themselves. You see what I'm saying? They had these guys up in that, man, and everybody that was sitting at that table was a part of the goddamn the rigging, was a part of the jack, except the victims, the people that was coming there playing. If you want to call them victims, because at the end of the day, they knew it was illegal what they was doing. So you know what I'm saying? Two wrongs don't make a right at the end of the day. And I'm pretty sure one of those so-called victims was the ones that told the authorities that they got jacked. You understand? So, but like I say, it's a right way to do wrong. And these guys definitely didn't do right by their wrong, by getting greedy. But yeah, man. But that's how I feel about that little situation right there, man. NBA gambling scandal tied to the mob. That's wild. But till next time, guys, it's been real. I'm Will. Let me try and get y'all to think about it. Peace.